There will always be one teacher who you remember for the rest of your life. Even as I'm saying this, as I'm speaking, I'm sure you've got a name and a face in your minds. Yeah, right. And I had this teacher, right, and his name was Mr. Lunt. And we had a nickname for him. Isn't that a great name to go into teaching with? You know, you'd have thought someone would have tipped him off at some point. Teachers training college, enrollment day. Your name, Lunt. I wouldn't, really, I wouldn't, no. Do you know what we called him? You know what our nickname for him was? We called him Mojo. And, you know, looking back, I can see what a tragic, wasted opportunity that was. I think just too young to know any better, really. We called him Mojo for reasons which I'll come to. There's a story behind this. Mr. Lunt had this way of going around the school making himself look more important than any other member of staff. He just had that look about him. You see, I'm not merely a teacher, I'm a head of department, I'm a member of the governing board, I'm an important man. Wherever I go, I'm in a hurry. I should not be bothered with the trivia of the school. You know how he gave this impression? Everywhere he went like this. See that? I don't even know it's there. No, the wind did that. I have my mind on higher things. And the reason we called him Mojo was we had a tuck shop. Remember tuck shop? You had a tuck shop, obviously. And they had sweets called Mojos. Did you have Mojos? Anyone remember Mojos? People might not remember Mojos. Basically, to recap very briefly, a Mojo was like an opal fruit, right? And what you would do, you'd get a whole bag of these things, you'd unwrap the sweet, put the sweet in your mouth, throw the wrapper on the ground. Like you should. Well, Mr. Lunt had an obsession with Mojo wrappers. Indeed, he could spot a Mojo wrapper from several hundred yards. And it was awesome. He'd be coming across the yard with his old hurried look on it. He'd be coming across the yard, and he'd suddenly freeze. And he'd go... It was like Steve McGarrett at the beginning of Hawaii Five-0. See that one? He'd be on... Yeah, he would. I've just remembered that's what it was like. He'd be on the top of the building, he'd go... We had a deputy who'd appear looking through a broken window. Yeah. He'd come across, he'd freeze, and he'd go... Mojo! Please, it wasn't a funny thing. It was more of a sad sound, do you know what I mean? No, it was a sad thing. You couldn't laugh at a thing like this. It was a sad sound. You'd hear this awful sound echoing around the corridors of the school. It was like a haunted... Mojo! We'd all be in class go, oh, that poor man. It was a sad sound, do you know what I mean? It was like, I don't know how... It was like the song of a whale or something. You know what I mean? A sad sound. There'll be teachers in other schools miles away communicating with him. One year we had a bunch of Japanese students in, they harpooned the bastard. Oh, he was obsessed. He was obsessed with Mojo rappers. He gave speeches about Mojo rappers. We'd be in assembly, and the headmaster would say, Mr. Lump wants a few words. I want you to talk about Mojo rappers. I want did you talk about me? By now, incredibly difficult to understand. Half man, half fish. It was terrible to watch, you know. He went, I want to jog on the shelby. I'm just gonna show the dog shop. If you'd be in the front row and you start laughing at this, he'd come over, he'd hit you with his fin. But I mean, great. I mean, he was. The one thing though, if you were in the vicinity and you heard this terrible sound, the call of the Mojo. Mojo! Oh bollocks! I won't do it again. If you heard it, if you heard that sound, then you had to look around, and if it was you nearest that Mojo rapper, you had to go. Okay, I got it there. Yeah. Oh Christ! It was such a good distraction. This was the whole thing. In class, you could always get him off at a different subject. This was the glory of it. Because to me, the whole point of being a pupil, I thought, was to get the teacher onto a different subject. The whole point of being on the planet was to get them off at a tangent, you know. The teacher's idea was to get from A to B in the class. Your idea was to go... And with each teacher, you got to know him well enough, you knew exactly how to get him off on a different subject. It'd be a different thing with each teacher, different kind of question, different time to pitch it. It'd be so you'd say, sir, what were trains like when you were younger, please? Trains? What? Trains? Well, of course, in those days, there was steam, you see. Where's my briefcase? Have I shown you the photographs of my steam engines? No, sir, I don't think you ever have. Gosh, you fascinating man. Just to think, a teacher and a life as well. But with Mr. Lunt, it was a gift. It was a gift. You'd be in the middle of a really boring geography lesson. All you had to do was just be looking out the window and you go, sir. So I'm not sure, but I think it's a Mojo. Mojo? It's a Mojo. I'll be here for the afternoon. Okay.